Welcome to Laguna Seca, beautifully rendered in Gran Turismo Sport. The goal of the series is to help improve your lap times in the sim and in real life. We will go beyond the driving line and try to focus on techniques, attempting to bend the laws of physics to our wheel. I will be driving a tuned BMW M3 with tuning similar to what you would find in an amateur racing series or at a track day. The full tuning specifications will be available at the end of the video. I drive a BMW E36 and I can attest to the accuracy of this game. I use these same techniques in real life, but I do use more caution when driving in real life. Let's begin. Most people will assume that the lap starts at the stop-finish line, but that is simply not true. So let's rewind to where the lap actually starts. That's better. I will now continue in slow motion, pausing at every important milestone. As we near the final turn of Laguna Seca, please direct your attention to the curb on the right side of the track. This is a great reference for where to apply brakes. In motorsports, there's a very popular saying, the car goes where your eyes go. So look directly into the apex as I turn in. At Laguna Seca, the apexes are highlighted by these large red curves. You will notice that I turned in a little bit too early this time, but let me show you a technique on how to manage this situation. Notice that I'm about 2/3 throttle right now. Why am I at 2/3 throttle in this position? Well, it's because I realized that I turned in too early, and to fix my driving line a little bit, or to adjust it, I'm intentionally causing the car to understeer. When I press the throttle, it will cause the front of the car to lift up and lose traction so that the car will drive straight without turning the steering wheel. So I'm still turning the steering wheel the same amount, but the car is turning less. And then you will see when I let off the throttle, I'll get a little bit of oversteer and the car will rotate. You will also notice that I didn't quite get as much oversteer as I wanted, and I will slightly go off the track and it ruins this lap, but it's still good enough that the next lap won't be affected. Now that we're pointed towards the start-finish line, let's hammer down and make it to the next corner. If we take a quick look from outside, we can see the front of the car lift up and then smash back down when I tap the throttle. Turn 1 and 2 are pretty straightforward on this lap, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But look at the curb on the right side. That's a great reference point for braking. Also, you want to put two wheels onto the outside of the painted line right here so that you get a better turn-in angle. I pressed the brakes a little bit too late, so I missed my apex, but I got a good exit, which you can see in my split time compared to my previous best. touch the curbs on the left-handed side and put your eyes towards the apex. You can see the little taps of the throttle as I try to control the understeer and oversteer of the vehicle, try to find an optimal line. Heading into turn 4, you can see that I get a lot of load in the front end when I turn in, and it gives me some oversteer. So to try to straighten the car, instead of counter steering, I hit the throttle to try to make the car understeer. And it works pretty well, and I hit my line perfectly. Coming into turn 5, the shadow from the bridge makes a great reference point for braking, but you have to be careful because the shadow moves. Listen carefully to the throttle control and how it is being used to rotate the car. For turn 6, you could use the bridge as a braking point reference, but I prefer to use the top of the hill. As soon as you can see the track, quickly tap the brake and then downshift if you can. Don't be afraid to use the green part of the curb, especially if you're driving in a simulator. Coming up to the Corkscrew, which some people say is the most difficult corner of the track, but I disagree. Turn 9 is more difficult than the Corkscrew. Keep to the left side of the track for the curb that is on the left side, and then as you start to see the rubber build up or the curb on the right side, either of those could be a good reference depending on if the track is clean or not. Press the brakes. Keep the steering wheel as straight as possible to maximize your braking. I lifted off of the brakes just for a second because I was slowing down a little bit more than I wanted to, and then turn in. As soon as the steering wheel is straight, floor it. I don't know if this will work in real life because I haven't tried it, but it works on the sim every time. Turn 9 is the most difficult corner of the track because it tightens. It's the only one on the track that has a changing radius. Stay in the middle. Okay, there's your apex. Now you can turn in. Use lift-off oversteer to help the car rotate. Accelerate out and get a good exit for the next corner. Turn 10 has a lot in common with the other turns in the circuit, so there's not really much to say. This is what turn 11 looks like when you do it properly. That's a lot less chaotic than the one that I showed at the beginning of the video. And that is one lap at Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca is a pretty typical track. It's not particularly difficult, and most of the corners feel the same. For that reason, I'm going to have to rate both the difficulty and the fun factor both a C. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Here is my tuning if you want to try to replicate my setup in Gran Turismo Sport. Good luck, have fun, get faster. What track should I do next? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time at Northern Isle Speedway.